Hey guys, today I'm going to count down my top 15 most intense roller coasters I've ever ridden. Of course, I did a list like this earlier in thinking like March or something when this channel was first born. But since then, I've ridden more roller coasters, so there's new roller coasters on this list, and you might be surprised with some of these. There are two coasters on this list that have closed, but I'm still including them on the list. You probably know what it is, but you'll see where they're ranked. So let's get started, shall we? Number 15, Superman Ultimate Flight at Six Flags Over Georgia. I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting it. I mean, that wasn't as intense as I was hoping it would be. I mean, it was actually still pretty intense. I mean, the pretzel loop is absolutely intense. That is definitely the most intense part. You definitely gray out during it. And, like, I mean, but that's really the only intense part. I mean, some of the helixes can be kind of intense, but the pretzel loop's really where it just gets absolutely intense. And that's where I'm starting off. Number 14, Mindbender at Six Flags Over Georgia, which is actually the same park, which is funny. This, I was honestly expecting to be pretty intense, but I was surprised how intense the loops were. That was one of the things that just was just how I was blown away by this roller coaster. I mean, the loops do pull 5.8 Gs, which is probably the most I've ever experienced. I have never experienced a roller coaster with that many Gs, and I love Mindbender. This was a great roller coaster. This is one of them I rode with a few of my friends when I went with during a mission trip. You can check out that vlog. It's probably my favorite video I've ever made. But yeah, Mindbender was overall a phenomenal ride. Phenomenal Schwarzkopf. Best Schwarzkopf ever. That's what number 13 is actually another Schwarzkopf. This is Scorpion at Busch Gardens. I still think this is more intense just because of how compact it is. Like, plus that drunk man helix at the end is pretty insane for how old it is and for a family coaster. Usually these Schwarzkopf coasters are usually meant for the families, but these rides do pull some high G-force. I mean, this one only pulls 3.5, but this feels much more intense for some reason. Probably because it keeps the G-forces much longer. With Mindbender, it's just that a couple moments where I have G-forces. This just keeps it constantly, which I think makes it more intense. I mean, this one's probably maybe a little rougher. I don't know. I think they're probably about equal smooth. I don't know. I need to do a coaster battle between these two. Comment down if you think I should do that. But yeah, Scorpion is actually very intense throughout a lot of the ride, especially the vertical loop and the drunk man helix. And it's definitely blackout worthy, I'd say. I may have blacked out on this like once. I'm not sure, but yeah, Scorpion's definitely not a forces coaster by any means. Number 12 is Alpengeist at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. This is definitely, I think, the most intense roller coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Just because of how fast it, probably because how fast it is, probably has to do something with it. Because the inversions will just whip you if you're in the back. During the Cobra roll is pretty insane during the back row, from what I remember. It's been over a year since I've ridden this. I rode this back in April 2016. And this ride was a lot of fun. I love Alpengeist. Some people say it's rough, though. Like, I don't get it. I did not think it was a rough ride for some reason. I was expecting it to be very rough, so I was bracing myself. And I was honestly very surprised when I got off of it. Like, I was very surprised that it was not rough. I just wanted to get back on. But, I mean, I'd rode in the background. The background was pretty insane during that Cobra roll. Like, it's very snappy, which it's so much whip. Like, the whip you get on it is insane during that Cobra roll. Like, it's crazy. And it's just a lot of versions pull some great G-force. This is an intense roller coaster. And number 11, we have Kraken Unleashed at SeaWorld Orlando. You can be a hater. I know I keep calling this ride Kraken Unleashed, but it's really called Kraken. I don't know. It's just now called Kraken Unleashed usually, so I'm just considering it Kraken Unleashed. But Kraken Unleashed is a incredible ride because, I mean, just because it's fun layout. I mean, this ride does pull some really good G-force. It is a pretty intense roller coaster overall. There's a lot of G-force throughout the entire ride. The most intense part, I'd say, is probably the second vertical loop. Like, that is probably one of the most forceful vertical loops I've experienced personally. And, like, I think if you're in the back row, you probably get a more intense experience. This ride does pull 3.9 Gs, which is pretty good for a roller coaster. And yeah, like pretty much the G forces are pretty constant. Like if you're in the back, like I'd say the Cobra roll is probably also like one of the most intense parts of the ride. Like in the back, like the second part, man, you get a pretty good about drag there if you're in the back row. Like it's pretty intense overall. And like the magic seat for Kraken is back row to the right. That is the magic seat. That you'll get an incredible ride. I mean, it might not be as smooth as these other roller coasters. It is rough for a B&M. I mean, it's still smooth, but it's just a little rough. But I mean, the zero G roll is so good in the back. If you're to the right, like honestly, like it rivals Kumba's Hell Roll. And yeah, that's Kraken. Brilliant roller coaster. Number 10. Now we're getting into the top 10. Number 10, Georgia Scorcher at Six Flags Over Georgia. A lot of these roller coasters at Six Flags Over Georgia are intense. I don't know. And this one's definitely one of the most intense rides in the park. I was so surprised by the Georgia Scorcher. I was expecting it to be just a good ride like Vortex. This was the second stand-up I've done. I've done 3. I rode this second of the 3. The first one I rode was Vortex back in 2016, and then Apocalypse at Six Flags America. I rode that in August, which Apocalypse and Vortex don't make this list, but Georgia Scorcher, I was so surprised how intense it was. Like my feet were tingling throughout like most of the ride, just because how intense it was. Like the inversions had a lot of G-force. I mean, it says put your feet to the fire, and I literally felt like my feet were on fire. Like that is how intense it was. I was so surprised. Like this thing was a G-force monster, and it was amazing. I love it. This is by far the best stand-up coaster. I still have yet to do rides like Riddler's Revenge or Green Lantern where it's just absolutely incredible. I mean, no one likes to stand up on a ride, but this is this is the exception. Like I love Georgia Scorcher, and if I ever go back to Six Flags Over Georgia, I definitely want to ride it again. Number 9 is the Incredible Hulk coaster. This is a very special coaster to me, and it is really intense. Like some people consider it to be kind of forceless. I mean, some rides I've gone at were kind of forceless, but most of the rides I've gone at were just absolutely intense. Rather if it's kind of forceless or it's just absolutely very intense. Like sometimes, like if it's running super well, you'll get a very intense ride. Like it'll cause you to like black out almost, like or gray out. Like it is crazy sometimes. Like it feels like you're like slithering through the layout sometimes on the Hulk. But yeah, and I mean this does pull 4 Gs. It pulls more Gs than any of the other rides at Universal, and you do feel it. But I mean, really, the most intense ride you'll have on it, front row at night. That is probably the most intense ride on Hulk. Just because the ride just seems so much more intense at night. The daytime is still very intense, but woo, in nighttime it's just that much better. I mean, it's definitely like I don't know, like back row and front row are probably equally intense. I think with Hulk, it just kind of depends on where you sit. Like, if you want a very intense ride or not so intense ride, I don't know. There's just, I need to kind of think about, like, which seats are intense and which are not with this, but Hulk is definitely my favorite ride at Universal, that's for sure. And right now, I consider the most intense roller coaster at Universal Orlando. Number 8 is the Hungarian Horntail. The first of the 2 closed roller coasters in this list. And you can tell number 7 is actually the other side, the Chinese Fireball. I'm just going to say both of these real quick, but those both were just very intense. Like, they were G-force monsters. I am very disappointed that Universal decided to close this ride. And I'm pretty sure they're probably going to replace it with a freaking mediocre Screen Fest. Yeah, we're all predicting Universal's going to replace it with a screen ride. And that's stupid. These rides were so much fun just because how intense they were. They were really underrated. I mean, I understand that they stopped dueling, but whew, these rides, I mean, come on. Just the coasters alone were just powerful, forceful, and they were just a lot of fun. Now, Hangover Hotel might have been rougher, But man, these rides were a lot of fun. They were blackout worthy for sure. I was kind of, it was unfortunate that I never got to ride when it was dueling. But I mean, they were fun though. But I really wish I could have ridden them in dueling. I mean, I heard it was much more intense when they were dueling. I would love to experience that. I mean, number 6, we have Manta. It's kind of sad now I'm putting this ride kind of low on the list, considering this is like one of the most intense rides. Like I keep saying, it's one of the most intense I've done, and it absolutely is. Like if it were not one of the most intense, I don't think it would be on this list or be very like low. But Manta is so intense throughout one section. That is that pretzel loop. Holy crap! That pretzel loop is absolutely insane. Like, back row, you will black out for sure. I mean, most of the time, it might gray out, but, I mean, like, if you black out, it's insane. Manta is one of the best rides in Florida, one of the best in Orlando, just because how intense it is. Definitely best flying coaster I've ridden, and it's in my top 15. It's very smooth. Just front row is also pretty intense, but not as intense as the back. Back row is really where you feel the extreme G-force. The back row is just absolutely insane. It's such a wild ride, and that's what I love about Manta. Number 5, we're getting into the top 5. And from number 5 all the way to number 1, each coaster will receive a 10 for intensity. Number 5, we have Monta at Busch Gardens, Tampa. And the thing I just could say about this is, this ride is mental. It's just mental. Like, back row. Holy crap. The back row is absolutely insane. Like, you're just whipping through each element. It is crazy. Like, my favorite part of this ride is that Batwing. Just holy crap, that Batwing is so intense. Like, especially in the back. Like, back, you're just feeling the G-force just pushing against you. It's so good. Plus, it's pretty smooth overall. I mean, it definitely has gotten a little rougher. I mean, it's not where you get like any headbanging or anything. It's definitely getting a noticeable rattle now. But this isn't about smooth. This is about intensity. I mean, I will say the reason why I don't like this ride as much as like Kumba, for example, because the second half is just kind of it's a little like the pacing's kind of weird. But I mean, the back row it's easy to forget. Like it'll just still whip you through each inversion. Like, let me just say, the back row, the final corkscrew, just hands down one of the most. It would get some of the most insane whipping ever. Like, it's crazy. Like, this thing is just a G-force machine. If you ride this, you will love it. Trust me. Monta is easily one of my favorite coasters of all time. Definitely in my top 10 as of right now. Just hands down one of the best B&M inverts of all time. Number 4 is Batman the Ride. Yes, call me stupid for putting Batman above Monta. But I mean, sometimes like Monta, like the second half is kind of like, not really as intense. This ride just so intense about the whole time. Like, I was expecting it to be intense, but not like this intense. Like, this thing was just so intense. It was crazy. Like, literally, I was blown away by Batman the Ride. Just how intense it was. Like, the versions just bang, 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 one element after another. These are kind of underrated, to be honest with you. This ride was a lot of fun. It's the only Batman clone I've ridden at the moment. But if you remember my old youth director, Brandon, who I remember I rode with him during a mission trip. I hope he's doing well with his new job. But anyway, but yeah, I remember if you saw him like in the Six Flags Over Georgia video, he said like how intense it was. It was 10 out of 10. I mean, I wouldn't say it's 10 out of 10. I mean, it's still pretty good, but the thing just to love about is how so intense. It might be a little rough, but oh my gosh, it is so forceful. And that's all I could say. When I went back here in July, like when I rode this in July, I blacked out during like that second vertical loop. Like, oh man, it is so intense. Definitely a monstrous G-force experience. Oh my gosh. G-forces you get are absolutely monstrous. Starting off the top three, we have Afterburn at Carowinds. This, all I can say is just straight up wow. This is the most intense B&M invert I probably have ever ridden, and my favorite B&M invert, just because how intense, how smooth, and just how crazy this was. I rode it twice when I was at Carowinds back in July of 2016, before this chili was extended, and I was blown away by this roller coaster. Like, back row is my favorite spot personally, just because how intense it is, and plus there are no trims like Monta. Monta has trims, this does not, and it just whips you through one element after another. It's insane. Like, I was so speechless after, and it is definitely one of the best roller coasters around. And plus it's super smooth. There was only one part where I really counter headbang, but that's just probably because of the ride itself. Probably just the transition was not like exact kind of snappy, but that just explains how intense this ride is. It was so intense. I absolutely loved Afterburn so much, just because how intense it is. And number 2 is my favorite roller coaster ever, Fury 325 at Carowinds. And part of the reason why this is my favorite roller coaster ever, just because how intense it is. Like, I mean, again, like, it's not the most intense ever. Like, there's a coaster on this list that's, I think, is much more intense. But the thing with this, just, dang. The drop. Oh my gosh, the drop feels like forever. But that's not the real thing. The most intense part is probably after the first drop. We're going through that turn. Like, that turn will cause you to gray out. I don't think I blacked out on this coaster. But, I mean, the thing just makes it so intense, just how it's just so fast. This thing goes 95 miles per hour. It is a monster. And then just the turns feel so much more intense just because of how the G-forces are pulling against you. And just all the elements of this ride are intense. And especially the airtime's pretty insane, actually. Like, probably Mako airtime. Like, it is so good. I love Fury 325. Like, more than any roller coaster I've ridden so far, just because how intense it is. That, so to speak. If you don't like intense rides, then I would suggest not riding this. However, the most intense roller coaster I have ever ridden is Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. And probably maybe you were expecting this to be at number 1. This is one of the most intense B&Ms ever made. I was told that I remember in 2015 when I wasn't really as enthusiastic. I was surprised that I remember Taylor said this is one of the most intense B&Ms ever made, and I was surprised. Like, I wrote it and I was like, holy man, that was so intense. And I just, oh my gosh, Kumba at Busch Gardens is the best ride at Busch Gardens. Just don't even start. The intensity on this ride is ridiculous. It's so insane. It's insanely mental. Like the 0G roll. Holy crap. Don't get me started with the 0G roll. The 0G roll is the best part of the ride. Just the 0G roll is so insane. It feels like it's going to rip your arms off. And the Cobra is like absolutely the smoothest Cobra I've ever ridden. I mean, the corkscrews, like are so good too. Even the Helix is insane. Oh my gosh, this thing is a powerhouse. It's it is omnipotent. This ride is omnipotent. Such a beauty, so iconic, and it's such a good ride just because how intense it is. I mean, there's some rides out there I know are probably more intense than this ride. But just, wow, this thing is intense, guys. I mean, I still have yet to ride rides like Sky Rush and 305 El Toro, Lightning Rod. Those will probably be more intense than this. But But as of right now, this is without a doubt the most intense roller coaster I've ever ridden by miles. And that is going to do it for this review. Or this countdown, sorry. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment down what is the most intense coaster you've ever ridden personally. I want to know, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos on this channel. And catch y'all next time. Have a theme-tacular day.